So I've needed a custom Discord bot for some of my servers for a while now. My own personal server, my Minecraft server, and more all have Discord servers, and in my opinion I think that a good looking server has one bot and more points if it's custom. Now you can always join the ones off GitHub or pay a few dollars to get some slightly higher quality ones. However, not all of them have the features you need, and at the end of the day, I am a developer, I know how to code Discord bots, why not code my own? So I decided to code it in TypeScript. I know a bit of JavaScript and I felt that it would be good to learn TypeScript as well. So I created a new project and loaded up Webstorm. I started off by moving everything out of the .env file into a JSON file, which just gives me a bit more formatting options than a .env, which just returns strings. I also made a messages.json file so that I can configure all of the messages. I made a class to serialize these files into JavaScript objects and made functions to reload the config. This simply clears the Node.js require cache and rereads the config file, setting all the values. I also added multi-prefix support, meaning that I've used dash, exclamation mark, and more to prefix your commands with. I also did a custom way of handling exceptions. This simply logs it to the console while also putting it in a file called exceptions.txt, and later I'll make a command that will send the latest exception to the bot admin. However, in order to send the message, I wanted to make a really consistent message theme, so I made a class called message sender that has a few functions to send a success, warning, and error message. I then threw together a Trello board so that I could keep track of all my ideas and how they were coming along. And yeah, I thought that was a good idea. I next created a logger class. I wanted to be able to keep track of everything that was happening in my bot and also have logs to look pretty. So this just has a few functions to log info, warning and errors. I used the npm package chalk to color them, and then I used prompt to add a question function. I also made a private function that updates the log file that simply adds the contents of the log to a file. Then another function to close the log, which just renames the current log file to a random UID for now. I couldn't really be bothered to make some proper naming scheme, but I'll do that later. I have this Node.js listener for the SIGNT event. I have no clue how to pronounce that, but that runs when the program is told to shut down. This is how I added a graceful shutdown so that I can close the log when the bot is told to shut down. I then set about storing data. I first started off by trying to store it in my local JSON file, but I decided against that as it would be incredibly insecure, as anyone with drive access could view and edit all the data. So instead I set up a Mongo database, and as you can see here, we can now create guild and user data. Member data still doesn't work. There's a difference between users and members in Discord. Users are just a Discord user that you can DM. Members are each user within a guild. To store member data, I want to be able to store it under the guild instead of making a dedicated collection for it. But I'm having a bit of issues updating the document, adding the member data, but it should be sorted for next video. I then made a system to enable or disable each command. I made it send a message if it's disabled, otherwise the command will just run as it's supposed to. It stores whether a command is enabled or not in a local file called commands.json. I then went through all my code and added comments so that I could read it if I were to take a 2-week break, because every single time I take a break from a project, no matter how long, I always come back not understanding any of my code, and I don't think this is just a me problem. I then added some bot admin commands. For example, the eval command allows you to evaluate code, so you can run code in Discord. So for example, you could do -eval console.log hello world, and it would log hello world to the console. You could also do eval-client.user.id, which just returns the ID of the user that the bot is currently logged into. I then made it if there is anything to be returned, it sends it to the Discord channel. It's important that only the bot admins have access to the eval command. In theory with the eval command, you can actually run commands on the machine, e.g. shutting it down or deleting all of its files. So it's very important that you don't give that to anybody other than yourself. I also made a stop command that shuts the bot down and a reboot command that simply sets a timeout to start the bot, then shuts itself down. Anyways, be sure to follow my socials in the description. I'm going to code a bit more and upload it in a new video coming out soon, so be sure to subscribe. Hey, have a good day.